Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Minister, for joining us here today. And thank you for this bill. It's a great bill. So as you mentioned in your remarks, and we've heard from many witnesses some concern about the prohibition on the promotion of flavors for vaping products. And you mentioned this in your remarks as something that was, we want to be strong about is prohibiting these flavors. Could you explain more why this measure is important?
Yes, thank you so much for the question. When we look at the objectives of Bill S5, really it's twofold. First of all, as Health Minister, my first priority is to protect the health and safety of our youth. And that's really moving forward one of the main objectives of this bill. But the other objective, as well, that I would say, is also to seize the opportunity. We recognize that there are several tobacco smokers right now that are wanting to switch from using tobacco to transferring to vaping products. And we absolutely can see that there can be some benefits to that as well. So moving forward, we certainly recognize that we don't want to allow young people to be encouraged to use vaping products. So that's why that moving forward, we certainly want to ensure that there's strict regulations that are in place with respect to marketing and promotion, because we don't want them to be enticed to that at all. But on the other end of the spectrum as well, we also recognize that flavored products for some Canadians can certainly help them in order to kick the habit of smoking and use vaping as an alternative option there. With respect to going back to the youth as well, we absolutely want to make sure that any flavors that are going to be available, when we talk about the names that will be used for the flavors, the actual names of the flavors, once again, should not be appealing to youth in any way. So I'll just give an example. I think all kids like cotton candy, and probably several adults like cotton candy. But we certainly want to make sure that those types of names won't be used for the flavors of the product, because, again, that name would be appealing to children. So with respect to the adult population, we certainly want to make sure that they have access to the flavors. But once again, we certainly need to make sure that we strike that balance, that we allow it for adult consumers, but in no way is it going to be appealing to our youth.
Thank you, Minister. We've also heard from a number of witnesses the claim that vaping products are safer than tobacco products, and you mentioned that as well in your remarks. I'm wondering, how do we know this? How do we know that vaping products are, in fact, less harmful than tobacco products?
Well, thank you again for the very important question. I guess to answer that, I would first of all say that the research is very clear when it comes to tobacco. We know that tobacco kills Canadians. When we look at our annual statistics, we know that we lose 45,000 Canadians per year as a result of tobacco. So as I said in my remarks, if we break that down, that's 1 Canadian every 12 minutes that dies as a result of tobacco within this country. So we certainly recognize that it's an extreme risk, and that the research is there. Research shows that vaping products are less harmful than tobacco, but with that being said, it doesn't mean that it is without risks. So we recognize that if we look at the two substances, that we have one that is perhaps less harmful than the other. So when we look at harm reduction types of mechanisms, we certainly recognize that vaping products can absolutely be a safer alternative than smoking tobacco.
Great. Thank you, Minister.